A last chorus for your ears only. I'm David Alpern.
I'm Melissa Exelbarth with a quote from the news. I was the Justin Bieber of the 70s. Really. Just ask your mother. That was 69-year-old Barry Manilow opening on Broadway, though truth be told, he was already in his 30s when he attained pop star status, as opposed to Bieber's teenage celebrity. Now this.
They're ruining this whole country while we mop up the floor.
They're flushing this whole nation down the drain.
Sisters, stand together. Let's show them in the door before they drive us totally insane.
Rough brother men out of the White House, and rough brother men out of the courthouse. Men are the problem with humanity. They're blinded by their vanity.
German-born Karen Kohler and our frequent guest KT Sullivan from good old Boggy Depot, Oklahoma, with a feminist anthem as fresh as today, but actually dating to 1926 in the pre-Nazi Weimar Republic. Chuck All the Men Out of the Reichstag is a high point of their two-woman show, Vienna to Weimar, mixing operatic waltzes with sexy, edgy 20s and 30s cabaret with a K. Plays on the next 6 Sundays in February and March at Stage 72 in Manhattan. And to explain the connection of musical genres and her connection with it, for your ears only, Karen Kohler joins us now. Welcome to our show.
Thank you, David.
First, tell us a bit about yourself. Where were you born and raised?
I'm a Frankfurt girl by birth. My parents are both Berliners. And my dad was an airline executive at Lufthansa. When I was 5, he was transferred from Germany to head up cargo sales at JFK. So I grew up in a town on Long Island South Shore named Amityville. You might have heard of it.
Yes, indeed. Not a horror.
No.
So what led you to join forces with KT Sullivan and join the Merry Widow of Franz Lehar with political German cabaret?
Well, KT's been a big supporter of mine since I came back to New York 12 years ago. And when I say came back, I actually found myself living in Texas for about 15 years, surrounded by other kinds of musical influences and things. And back in 2003, she put together a solo show for the Neue Gallery of Viennese operetta and invited me to come and be her guest on sexy duets from the Weimar period, which was the golden age of our cabaret art form. And the first time we did that, we were on stage in glittery gowns, and when they invited us back the following season, I had an idea to ditch the dress and put on my vintage tux, and that changed everything. Our voices and sensibilities are a really delicious match, and we last fall restaged all these incredibly well-crafted songs whose continue to be current 80 years after they were written. The True Duo show out of it debuted back in October, have won the Broadway World Award for Best Review, and so we've brought it back. We're very excited.
We know from an earlier interview with performer Mark Nadler how remarkably brave German cabaret in the 20s was, dealing with sexuality, homosexuality, gender roles, general repression. What are some of the less familiar songs in that vein in your show?
One very funny song all about gender play called Masculinum Femininum, the result of which is a handsome, pretty hermaphrodite. Jeremy Lawrence did most of the English translations of these songs and really brilliantly captured their spirit. Here and there, I sing my own translations, such as in a song called Lila Lied, which I call Purple Song, which is precisely about the suppression of gays, but also their clear belief in themselves and in their right to love each other. And Mark is right about the bravery of these folks. Most of them were Jewish, but not all of them, and yet all of them were incredibly fearless in the face of what was happening. And in my cabaret festival, I actually screened a few years ago a German documentary by my friend Volker Kuhn in Berlin about cabaret that took place in the concentration camps. So these folks performed until the very end, and yet I have a new feeling suddenly, and it's quite extraordinary. We all do, I think, that we are making some progress. For in 2013, the President of the United States is mentioning equal rights and equal loving for gays in his inaugural address. So topical indeed.
How did a song like I Couldn't Be Annoyed by Americans Leo Robin and Richard Whiting get into the mix?
That's a sassy little number from Marlene Dietrich's Hollywood film repertoire. She's, of course, one of the main figures of this time, and arguably Germany's finest export ever. KT sings a medley of that song with Falling in Love Again and with Lily Marlene, and she's dug up some very little-known and very haunting lyrics to Lily Marlene.
The great American songwriter Larry Hart of Rodgers and Hart fame also did a translation for the German in one number.
That was Franz Lehar's Merry Widow Waltz from 1905, in fact.
And you provided a few translations yourself.
I have, the Purple Song, as I mentioned, and in this show also The Ruins of Berlin, which I'm actually translating in the other direction, from English into German for the first time. I'm taking Frederick Hollander's English text for the Hollywood film he made with Marlene that was directed by Billy Wilder, called A Foreign Affair, and translating that song into German.
Karen Kohler is a singer, actor, writer, and teacher at KarenKohler.com and artoftheboards.wordpress.com. She's co-star with KT Sullivan in Vienna to Weimar, February 3rd, 10th, 17th, 24th, March 3rd, and 10th at Stage 72, 158 West 72nd Street in New York.
Women have passively embraced them when we could have easily outpaced them. Yes, we should have long ago replaced them, or better yet, erased them. If we haven't made our clear, we women have had up to here.
And this has been For Your Ears Only.